Hey guys, how's everybody doing? How's it going? How was everybody's Christmas? Hope you all had a very, very lovely time. Ate some good food, got some nice stuff. Had a nice, just relaxing time, just chilling. We had a really good day. It was good. I'm gonna put some music on. I think wife has got it set up so that I can actually have music now. So I'm gonna have some music on. Not very loud in the background. Just so I have something to listen to, basically. And it's not going to be that y'all can pick what it is. It's just going to be on a 90s playlist because I feel like listening to some 90s right now. So, so yeah. Hopefully that is not too loud or too quiet. Let's see. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. There we go. Down 2 clicks. So I did it more than 2 clicks, but yeah. Okay. Gonna turn it down a little bit in my ears. I've gotten used to doing this without anything in my ears. I just want to barely hear it so I can not be bored, basically. So yeah, we had a really good Christmas. Ate some really good food that Deets cooked because, you know, awesome chef. It's nice to be married to an awesome chef. But yeah, I got some really cool stuff. One of the things I was super, super excited about, I'm gonna go ahead and show off. I got an iFixit toolkit from my wife. It's going to make my modding so much easier. It has, not only does it have tons and tons and tons of screw bits. Thank you, Whiff. Going to turn it down that way some and turn the desktop back up a little bit because I can't hear that very well now. So turn it down from the source a little bit. Turn it back up that way a little bit so I can actually hear my desktop alerts. But yeah, I got the it's got a crap ton of tool bits in it. Like everything I'll ever need to open up basically any type of electronic. It's got a whole bunch of things that prying tools and stuff, so I won't hurt stuff when I open up plastic anymore. I'm super excited about it. Like, it's just gonna make my modding go a lot easier. Hey XB, how's it going? And I'm super excited to have this. It also has a magnetic pad, so I can stop like throwing screws like across the table while I'm modding. They'll all stick to that so I won't lose them. So that's freaking awesome. Like, I'm super excited about this kit. It's gonna just make things so much easier and so much better. Alright, today's stream is gonna be a bit different. I'm not gonna be doing any actual modding per se. I want to go through and I want to show everything that I've completed in the past, talk about which ones need some repair work done, which I'm planning on getting done this year. And I want to show you some projects that were completed at one point, but I've ripped them apart to either start repair work or because I needed to steal stuff out of it. And I'm planning on going back and refinishing all those this year. And then I just want to show you some projects that I had half started and I never actually completed that, again, I'm planning on getting finished this year. I have a lot planned for 2021, guys. A lot. And I'm super excited about it. So, well, it's because I haven't changed over to the other one yet. I can show it better. I am gonna actually be using my new toolkit a little bit today, because I'm not just gonna show you completed stuff. I'm gonna open some of them up so you can see the insides of them. I might not open up every single one because some of them are really hard to open up just because of how they are. But we're gonna go ahead and move over to over here. I'm not allowed to use my new toolkit. It's just for looks. It's just for looks. I'm gonna turn this on. And I'm gonna put a towel down simply because I'm going to be opening up a bunch of crap. Alright, so first of all, we're gonna talk about the very first thing I ever completed. This is my Handy Duo. This is it's a clone system. I don't generally work with clone systems that much, but this was the first project I ever did, and clone systems are a lot cheaper and usually a lot. Some of them aren't as easy to fry. Some of them are. This one was a. This is the Retro Duo. It's an NES and SNES clone that plays both. So it was a good one for me to start on and learn how to do all this stuff. I realize I actually zoomed in the camera too much for 1 second. Let me see if I can. I should have put it on the longer arm. Oops, steady. I wanted to show it so it would actually be the right orientation for you guys. More so than it is normally. That's about as good as it's going to get. But this is the Handy Duo. It is an NES and SNES clone portable. It is very large. Very large. It does weigh a lot. There is a lot of epoxy putty in this thing. I had to alter the case a ton to be able to fit both in. But it does work. It is my first project, and it still works to this day. Well, I'm going to put in some games. The Super Nintendo ones go in the top cart slot there, and then the Nintendo ones go in the other cart slot. Like so. The way this one operates, over here we have the selector. One way is NES and the other way is SNES, and right this second I don't remember which one is which because it's been a while since I've actually used this. But we'll go ahead and put it in that one since I have both games in. One of them will boot on. So that's gonna have a horrible glare. Here we go. Go ahead, this is the power switch over here. Go ahead and turn it on. And that is the Super Nintendo side. Apparently my LED for the Super Nintendo side is not working currently, so that's one thing on this that doesn't work anymore. That's supposed to be pink. But yeah, all the buttons do work. The D-pad is stiff. That's how it was when I first put it in there. I didn't do a very good job with the D-pad, but just to show that stuff is working, let's not watch this that way. How about you actually look at the screen right in front of your face? At least the up key was working last time I checked. Apparently the D-pad is now not working at all. So this one does need some work. It was working the last time I tried it. This is one of the problems with doing this modding stuff yourself. But screen still works, audio still works. Turn it off then. We're going to go over to the NES side. And there you go, the NES side. Which, again, select works, but apparently the D-pad's not working, so I am going to have to go in and repair this one then. Not a problem. The D-pad's always been an issue. Like I said, I didn't put it together very good. That is really loud. Turn that down. But I am going to open this one up and show it off, because like I said, this was my very, very first portable that I ever made. And I'm still quite proud of it. Like, it's huge. It weighs a ton. The inside is a bit of a mess, but I am still super proud of the fact that I ever made this. I knew nothing about case modding or case making. I knew nothing about electronics. People in the forums I was in at the time actually didn't believe me when I first started that this was my first one and I didn't know anything about it. I was like, I'm just good at reading and following instructions, and that's what I did basically. I might change this camera. I haven't zoomed in too much. Bear with me one moment, guys. I'm going to swap this camera back to how it was. I'll just twist it so y'all can see. Next time I'll set it up so the camera's coming from the opposite end and I just have to flip it 180 instead of 90 degrees. Changing it like this just doesn't work. I'm gonna have to change the size. Where is the camera? Camera 2. Hello? Filters. I need to have something for orientation. Okay, so it's still showing the wrong way. Properties, it was under transform, rotate, and where did it go? One moment. Rotate it back the other way so I can see where the camera's at. Bear with me a moment, guys. I'm really sorry about this. I didn't actually realize how close I had this all zoomed. Where is the camera? Camera 2. I just need to have where I can see it where it's at. And then rotate it back. Make it smaller. You guys are going to get to see the part of this you're not supposed to see. Make it small enough so I can see when I change the orientation. Rotate it back to that. Now I can't tell which way it originally was supposed to show. Lol. That's backwards. Rotate, transform, 180. There we go. That's the way it's supposed to be. Okay. Hey, Candy, how's it going? Sorry, just one moment. I am working on trying to put this back correct so that it's showing more logically. There we go. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. That can go away. And my vape needs to get out the way. All right, so I'm going to open this beast up so you can see it. I did, except I need to do it so the camera's coming from the other way from in front of me. So it's because the way to get it to show in the screen size I have to have it zoomed in way too far. Like it's just not right. I'll get it sorted for next time. There we go. Okay. Gonna get to use my new toolkit. I'm so excited. Alright, so I need... What do I have in here? I have Philips. I need to turn this back on so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, I didn't even see that you gave 100 bits. Thank you, Candy. Thank you for the bits. I just saw you talking. Sorry. I was trying to fix my crazy looking stream. I know that feeling, Candy. I know that feeling. I need a Philips, and I don't know what size of Philips I need. And this is the first time I've used this, so I'm trying to figure... There's the Philips. I'm like, where are the Philips? Just gonna leave out the screw bits, because that's what I need. And how about the electronic pads so I don't lose the screws? That can go over there. Alright, the rest of this can go away for now. Oh, the dirty rabbit. Right. I haven't opened this thing up in a very long time, guys. So this will be fun. I kind of also want to open it because I have the date on it of when I finished it, so I can let you know how long this has been completed for. And plus, then that way I'm actually doing some quote-unquote modding, so I can be in this, I'm in the right channel. Saying that I'm in Makers and Crafting. I made this one white and black because I was imitating the Retro Duo console I had at the time. They were released back then, at least, in white and blue and red and black, and I like the white and blue one better than the red and black one. So I imitated the Handy Duo to look like it. And that's what I did. Come on. Right. Whoop. Before I fully open it up, I already said that that's the selector for NES and SNES side. In the middle, it's off for both of them. That's the power to turn the whole thing off. On the bottom, we have the headphone jack, and then this is the charging port, which I made it in the most stupid way possible. The batteries that it also has my fingerprint and super glue right here. But the batteries that I use, the charger that they come with, I decided to, instead of using a normal plug port, which is what you should do and all my future projects do, I use the 2-prong version that it has, which I've messed up my batteries doing it this way before. So I have to be very careful when I charge this unit. So yeah, I don't ever do that ever again. But let's go ahead and open her up. The I believe the bottom is glued into place. This piece right here is glued to the bottom, and I believe the top pieces are also glued into the top. But let's just, nope, they're glued the other way. They're glued into the bottom piece, not into the top piece. That's fine. Again, I haven't opened this thing up in an age. So we're going to get to see together what she looks like. Come on. There you go. That is the inside of this system. It's a bit of a monstrosity. I say that, but considering that this was my first project ever, this is actually quite well organized. You got your speakers, this is the screen, this is the, that is the controller brain, essentially. That's what determines how the controller functions. So all of these are wired up to that, and then this is wired up over to the system, which is over here. Those are the powers, LEDs. Over here, this is the SNES cart slot. The batteries are sitting right here. Underneath the batteries is the Super Nintendo side of the board. The Nintendo side of the board is actually not very big, and that is it right down there in the cart slot. Like, it only sticks into this portion just a tiny bit. The board mostly just sticks out in the cart slot cover. But yeah, that's the inside. This over here is the thing that makes my batteries work for the system. It only needs 5 volts, but the batteries I use are 7.5 volts, so this knocks it down to 5 volts, and it does it very efficiently without wasting power, so it makes the batteries work longer. But yeah, so that's the inside of that one. I'm not going to remove the batteries so you can actually see up under better. Sorry about that, but I'm just not. But yeah, so that is that one. So we can go ahead, and this was supposed to be hot glued. It's supposed to be there, staying still, and it's come loose. But we're gonna go ahead and just reclose that one. This one seriously took me forever. Since it was my first project, I didn't measure anything. You know how you're supposed to measure twice and only like cut once? I didn't measure anything when I was doing this project. And to me, I was just like, it'll all fit in this case. It'll be fine. So I got the front of the case completed. I had the back mostly completed. And then I went to try to fit it all in, and it didn't fit. I couldn't close it. Like, there was a big gap. So the back piece, I've had to alter a lot. Like, I have, it's normally supposed to be thinner than this back piece. I had to basically like melt some plastic and push it out so that I could extend the back and make it work. And it just took forever. It was a pain in the butt. Which is one reason this one's so heavy, because the back is basically one solid piece of epoxy after doing that. Like, after, yeah, good times. Good times. So let's go ahead and reclose that one. So that was the very, oh, I forgot to look at the date. The date's in there. Where's my signature plate? I always sign everything I complete. It's right down here. Right down here. Handy Duo finished July 31st of 2010. 2010, so this is over 10 years old. Cool. Didn't even realize it was that old. Sometimes I like to think I'm not as old as I am. 2010, damn. All right, so we're gonna reclose that back up. Again, I'm going to need to fix the D-pad. I'm gonna actually write that on my list of things to do, because I didn't think this one needed any work. Where's my pencil? Ha 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 ha. Hey, Tucky, how's it going? Let's see. That over there. To-do list. I need to repair D-pad and power LED. Handy Duo. Okay, there we go. My to-do list. All right, so let's go ahead and screw that back together. Actually, before I screw it together, I didn't even remember. Did the power LED come on the green on the NES side? It's supposed to be green. NES side. So yeah, the power LED does work for the NES side. So it's just the Super Nintendo side that the power LED is not working for. Hey Twig, how's it going? Ugh. Sorry about the shaking. Right, gonna screw this one back up. For 10 years old and being my very first project, this one is in very good condition still. I didn't realize it was 10 years since I've made this. That's wow. Good grief. Good grief. Come on. One thing I never put in my very first one was a low battery indicator. So the only way you can tell is the batteries get too low and the screen just starts jumbling. So you better save your game real fast. Real fast. Or be real close to that power wall. The power, yeah, to plug it in. Okay, so that, again, was my first project ever, the Handy Duo. Completed July 31st of 2010. People were really impressed. Again, they still didn't believe that it's the first time I've done it. They're like, you made it look so professional on the front. Like, it's quite seamless looking. It does have some flaws. Like, if you're looking at it in person, you can see there's flaws in it, but it looks really good in pictures and stuff. Like right there, you can see that it has separated ever so slightly. But yeah, I put like all the decals on. Like, I bought decals and I put all the decals on to make it look more professional and stuff. And people were just like, there's no way this is your first time doing this. I'm like, yeah, it really is. First time I've ever done it. That one can go away. All right, we're going to move on to the next project I ever completed, which was my handiness. This is when I decided that it was time to move on to working with OG hardware. OG hardware, no clones, or very, very few clones. I still work with clones every once in a while, but I mostly work with original hardware so that you have the best experience possible. This is a Nintendo portable. It is using the Top Loader NES, which I believe was not ever released in the UK. It was released in Japan and the US. It's quite a bit rarer. It doesn't have composite out. It just has, what's the word? Auxiliary, which is horrible, but it's a really easy mod to get it to do composite out, so you can actually make a portable out of it. But yeah, it's a lot smaller. So here's an NES game. Obviously, it's thicker. It's 2 inches thick by 4 inches this way, and it's 6 inches this way. And it weighs, I think, only about a pound. But yeah, it is all OG hardware. I can play literally any Nintendo game that was ever made. And I say that because as long as I have a tube TV around, I did actually alter a light gun, be USB, also a second player controller to be USB. They connect in through the USB port here, this one, and then down, it's going to be hard to show. Down there, you see that little black square right there that the screwdriver's on? That is a switch to switch between whether the USB port is going to be reading for second player controller or the zapper. So as long as I have, because I do have AV out, this is going to be your headphone out, this is AV out. So as long as you hook it up to an actual tube TV, you can play Duck Hunt with this controller. So yeah, I repainted the controllers. I added to the little stickers to make it match for the red mushroom. Because this is, my first project had no code name. This had a code name. This was codename Red Mushroom. And I made it look as much like a red mushroom as I could. So from this side, there you go, a red mushroom. Yeah, the handiness. And this one also has the little sticker on it to match it. And it's red on the back. This one I thought needed some work the other day. The audio wasn't working, and then I turned it on again on stream the other day, and the audio was working, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, this, again, all original hardware. Not working for Nintendo because I don't think they'd like it if they knew that I was even doing this crap. There you go. Turn the light back off so you can see the screen better. And maybe the audio has stopped working again. Yeah, so the audio is finicky on this. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I need to figure that out. So I will be needing to go in and doing some repair work on this one. All of the buttons work though. It's just the audio that I'm having issues with on this one. So see, like everything works fine. I don't have a sword yet, but the select button just pauses. Start button. But yeah, that's basically all there is to that one. This one is, to my knowledge, the smallest original hardware portable Nintendo ever made. A lot of people got mad at me when they found out I was working with the top loader NES. They're like, they're already rare enough. How dare you be cutting them up? And I'm like, it's mine. I can do what I want to with it. And this has made it better because it's composite video, it's portable, it's awesome, all that stuff. So we're going to go ahead and open this one up so I can show you the inside. This one, I actually can't close all the way. It kind of looks like it's closed all the way because it's closed just to where the lip is supposed to beat. But if you look really closely, you can see, like, that white is supposed to be up under the red, not showing, but yeah. If it was closed all the way, you wouldn't actually see the gap. They would just be together. But it's closed enough, like you can't see the inside anywhere. So up here that's the power button. These are the screen controls. The middle opens the menu and then toggles through like your brightness, your contrast, all that stuff. And then that's just plus and minus for that. That's your volume. Again, I already showed you the switch that's on the inside to swap between the USB controller being second player controller or being the light gun. Let's go ahead and open this one up. Turn the light back on so I can see what I'm doing better. All right. Like I said, it's not actually closed all the way. You can tell when I open it, like, it's just sitting just there. So this is the inside of the handiness. Over here we have the NES2 board. This is where the cart slot was attached. I've obviously had to relocate it. This over here is the... Crap, what is that? It's hard to remember because it's been so long. I think that's the audio amp. This over here is the switch that I have for swapping between the this little board right here between the light gun or the second player controller. Batteries, obviously. Underneath that is the screen board. These batteries I can actually move pretty easily. I have them set up that way so I can, as opposed to on the Handy Duo. Come on. They're a little stuck with all the hot glue everywhere. Okay, so underneath the batteries, you will find the screen. This is the screen board. That's going to be the D-pad controller board. Start and select. Your A and B are up. Come on. Move just a little bit more. There we go. A and B are up here. This board here is the protection circuit for the batteries I have. If you don't have that, your batteries will explode, so that's very important. All the ports for the bottom. I do have a low battery indicator in this, and that is right here, right attached to the speaker. Like this little board here, there's an LED going down into the speaker hole, one of them that's not being used. This project it's complex and yet not at the same time. I made the mistake of using this kind of pot for the audio on this one, which might be part of what the issue is, but it works okay. I have since gone to all future projects using a wheel instead of a knob. Wheels are better in portables. But yeah, that is that's the first handiness. It was completed. I didn't have much room to actually like write on this one. It's kind of all everywhere in here, and it's really horrible to read. But this was completed November 24th of 2011. I couldn't even actually sign my name. I just put my initials. But yeah. So that battery flips back down like that. This battery comes over like that. And then we just kind of close it back up. But before I close it, I need to make sure that this wire is out of the way of the screw. Oop. I have a wire that like encircles the screw post. I gotta make sure it's actually not getting squished. That wire. Get back in there. Get back in there. It's having a patty because I haven't actually like opened it up in forever. It's like, why are you opening me? What are you doing? All right. Tell I haven't opened it in a while because this is how it originally started when I first closed it up. And I get it to be so you can't see the inside. This is why I don't close it all the way. I also don't do all screw, like one screw all the way first. I can't show you the second handiness because it was commissioned. It has been sent off to its owner long ago. I believe that it's actually one of my best projects I ever did. But I only have pictures to show for it. But it was just a really well done project. Somebody wanted to commission me to make a handiness. It was it looked very similar to this size wise, but it was to be modeled after the NES controller. So I modeled it after the NES controller, made a sticker for it. This one needs to go down a little bit more. There we go. Like I said, I don't close it all the way. I just do it until it's not showing the insides anymore. There you go. That's the handiness closed back up. That one is done. But yes, the second handiness, it looked very much like it's the same size. I changed this out to be a wheel instead of a knob. They didn't want to have second player port, so there was no USB port. I don't remember. I think they had AV out, so they had headphones. I changed the AV out, I think, to be a normal size, but it's so they just have the power and the headphone and the AV out on the bottom, which means they also didn't have to have the switch down the back for swapping between controllers. Yeah, but it was just it just looks very nice, that one. It looks very much like an NES controller, and I was very proud of it. I have no idea if it's still together, if it's still working. Haven't heard from the guy. Hopefully it's still going strong. The next thing I'm going to show you is I originally bought the clone Retro Duo for the NES SNES because I was annoyed at how much room a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo take up together. And that was a 2-in-1. And then I decided, I was like, you know what? I can make my own Duo with original hardware. So this is using the second model of the Super Nintendo and the second model of the Nintendo, and they're all crammed together in the casing of the Super Nintendo. This is the Super Nintendo part right here. I added on, this is the cart slot from an NES2, or the top loader, and I added it onto the back of it. I moved the power buttons over here, obviously. I had to relocate the Super Nintendo controllers over because they're normally centered so that I could make room for the NES controllers. And I added in the second version of the Super Nintendo had no power indicator light, so I added in lights. This is the power light for the Super Nintendo side, and this is the power for the Nintendo side. This was mostly just a bunch of casework. It's been scratched, lovely. The actual electrical work wasn't that difficult. I did have to relocate the NES cart slot to be able to make it work. Huh? It has been scratched right here. My wife was just asking, where is the scratch? This gash right here, it's been scratched. It's not a huge deal because it's on the bottom, but oof, I need to reposition myself slightly. But yeah, the electronics was obviously I had to composite mod the NES because again the top loader NES is only auxiliary out. So I had to do the composite mod for that. I did have to cut the board down so it would fit, and I had to relocate the NES cart slot and obviously relocate and mount these power buttons and then deal with these. But like electronically wise, like I didn't have to worry about screen, didn't have to worry about batteries, so this one wasn't quite as complex. We are going to open up this one also to show what it... Okay, yeah, they're Phillips. I did have to destroy one of the screw posts a little bit. If you can see in there, you can see wires poking through on this screw post. So I have to be careful when I unscrew that one. Like, it still holds the case down and together, it's just there's some wires poking into it is all. I need a bigger... This has not been opened in a while. Ah. Hey, Vile. I did need a bigger tip, so I got a bigger tip. Lol. How's it going, Vile? How was your Christmas? Right, be very careful with this one. Come on. Go ahead now. Come on, come out. Come out. Come out. All right. So this one we're going to open from the top. I don't remember which way I have the controller port for the NES glued in. I said it's been a while since I've opened this. Okay, it's glued to the top, so we'll open it this way. Right. No, because I want you to see this side. Open it this way. All right, so this is the inside of the monstrosity. NES cart slot, like I said, had to be relocated, so it's actually been mounted to sit above where the Super Nintendo board is. The NES board is underneath the Super Nintendo board. It's very hard to show without me disassembling this entire thing, and I'm not going to do that. You can see a tiny bit of it sticking out there in that corner where that part is cut off of the Super Nintendo board. Underneath that is the NES board, even though it's not focusing. But yeah, I just had to relocate some stuff to make room, especially from the back of the board, obviously, because this is going to be in the way, so I had to relocate all of these capacitors and stuff. But yeah, they use just one AV out and one power. No more secrets. And I don't know why I used this much wire for this. I have no idea. It doesn't need to be that long, but it is. So there you go. Yeah, that's, like I said, it's not this. Oh, this was codenamed TZAP. Totally secret, super awesome project. And it was completed on October 19th of 2011. So I completed it. I actually completed this before I completed the red mushroom. Interesting. I didn't remember completing this before I completed my portable, but I did. So yeah, there's like I said, it's not a ton to show. It wasn't that much electric wise. It's just relocating some stuff, basically. So it looks like a lot of wire and stuff, which it is, but I didn't have to mod that much electronically speaking. I had to do a bunch of casework. So on the case, you can see where this obviously doesn't match the rest. This is the cart slot guide for the NES, so that it would be correct. And yeah, I added in cut the shell apart to add the top part. Okay, now I need to remember how to put this thing back together, because the Super Nintendo ports actually aren't. They aren't actually glued in place or anything. I just had them set in place. Come on, get in your little guide and go back into your home. Where do you guide in? I don't even see. Everything's fitting fine except the NES controller ports. Yeah, I hear the music stop. Give me just one sec. Oh, it's because it wants to play an ad. Just 1 second. All the ads. There we go. Yes, you're right. I mean, I don't hear. I do use this one. Every time I stream anything on Nintendo or Super Nintendo, it is streamed with this. This is probably my most used of my projects just because it is my console. Something's not right with the controller ports. Get in there. Is there like a wire in the way? Like, what's your problem? Sure there's no wires in the way of the actual screw post. There is over here. Probably part of the problem. Remember this one being a bitch to close. It would help if I didn't have these wires so long. Maybe one day I'll actually go back in and shorten those wires up. Make it a lot easier to close up, that's for sure. Maybe one day. Okay, there's not a wire in the way of the actual screw hole. Alright. Not actually screwing. No. Why are you not actually screwing? Go in the hole. Why are you not screwing? There we go. Going at the wrong angle. My bad. The only issues I've ever had with this project when using it is, once again, I didn't actually measure when mounting the NES cart slot. And if I don't put the NES game cartridges in just perfectly, which it's like all the way to one side, I forget which way it is, but like there's a tiny bit of wiggle room when putting in an NES cart if it's going to go all the way up against this wall or this wall over here. And I don't remember which way it is right this second, but I have to make sure it's shoved all the way over. It's only like a millimeter of a difference, but it'll come out jumbled if I don't do that. So that's the absolute only issue I've ever had with this one. Controllers work good. I even painted controllers to match, which I actually need to go in and clean the Super Nintendo ones because the Super Nintendo ones don't work very well. So I don't even have them outright. right now to show. I do have an NES one though. I just painted the shells black. I didn't mess with the buttons. So there's one of the Dogbone controllers. I did paint 2 of each. So I have 2 NES and 2 Super Nintendo ones. I did also do a zapper. Super dusty. Zapper I did in the same color pattern of the black and the hot pink as what the my Nintenduo is. I did name this the Nintenduo. See on the sticker there, Nintenduo. It's dusty. All my stuff is dusty. Zapper does work, obviously, if it's hooked up to a tube TV, CRT TV. I do have a CRT TV, it's just up in the closet, and it's very small. Okay, I gotta get this one in just right, since it has most of the guide missing. There we go. That is that closed up, even though it doesn't feel right or look right, but I'll deal with that later. Anyway, that is that one. Let's see, which finished one do I want to show you next? I will show you the Pocket Atari. This is the one that is in my intro video. This is using a clone system. This is the Atari Flashback 2. It has like 40 built-in games, I think. Technically 42 if you count the paddle games. I completed it on March 15th of 2016, it looks like. This is a project that I had in the works for a long time. Like, I had it planned out. This is the first project I ever properly measured everything. I had a very detailed blueprint to make this because I was told that it wasn't possible. It was too small. You wouldn't be able to get decent battery life out of it. All I wanted to do was cram a Flashback 2 inside of an Atari cartridge. This is an original Atari cartridge that I have modified, obviously. But yeah, I did it. I did it to prove that I could do it. And I did. I've made 2 of them. One of them was a commission. I unfortunately can't really make any more of them. You have to have a very specific screen to make it work. It's very thin. And I can't find any more that work. Without it costing a crap ton of money. Like, I'm sure I could do it, but the screens would be too expensive. But yeah, this one does need some repair work done to it. It does work, but the color wheel has some issues. You can see, like, it's showing in black and white. But if you push down ever so slightly on the color wheel, you get your color back. So there's something wrong with, it's this bottom wheel right here. Something wrong with this wheel. Don't know if it's a grounding issue or something. And the up button no longer works, I think. It was. No, I don't want to play harder. I just want to play. So, or maybe it's left. It looks like it might be a grounding issue because when I try to go left, it's also changing it to not be color anymore. Up, right. So left does work, but it's very hard. So there's probably a grounding issue going on right now. It might not, you might not have even seen any of that. Let me turn this off. So yeah, like, and does the audio still work? Let's go get the key and find out. Yep, there's your audio. Okay, but yeah, so it has some grounding issues going on right now. But I believe it's 40 games. There's the Atari Flashback 2 has like the adventure games, there's arcade games, space games, skill and action zone, and then there is a hidden paddle section that has like 2 paddle games. I did originally make a paddle to go with this. It fits into this micro USB port right here, but I actually gave the paddle away with the commission that I did. I completely intended to make another paddle for myself. I just haven't yet, so that's when I go in to make repair works to this, then I can go ahead and make another paddle for myself. The turn this back on so I can see again. The things on this one, this is going to be your charging port. This is the power switch. There's two switches down here. This is the, if it'll focus. This is the power switch. This one right here is the difficulty switch. The original Atari had a difficulty switch on it, and it would make things more difficult if you changed it. Like, the easiest thing I can think of for an example is on, what's it called? Breakout. The one that you shoot all the blocks above you using the paddle. If you turn the difficulty up, it'll shorten the size of your paddle to be able to bounce the ball back with. So yeah, difficulty switch. And then that is the micro USB for use of the USB paddle. The Flashback 2 does have 2-player support. I did not implement that in this since it's so tiny and it doesn't have AV out. It would be a complete nightmare trying to play 2-player on this. It's only a 2.5-inch screen. But yeah, the volume was over here. Brightness is the top one color. Contrast is the bottom wheel. Yeah, and that is a picture of my bottom. That is me pulling my own Pocket Atari out of my pocket. Exception. But yeah, again, this one was completed on March 15th of 2016. I don't know if I'm going to open this one up right now because it's not the easiest to open. Let me see if I can get it open. I don't remember how to get it open. That's the problem. I'm going to have to open it for when I make the repairs to it, but right this moment, come on, grab it the right way. I know that I left a little lip in there. I don't want to damage it right this moment. We're not going to open this one. This one's a ball ache to open and to close back up just because everything is so packly tight in there. Tight, so packed so tightly. I can talk, I promise. But yeah, that's the Pocket Atari. Again, I have made 2 of these. The other one was red instead of the pink. So that had red buttons. And on the front, obviously, action button. One of them is your game select, and the other one is to start the game. But yeah, that's the smallest thing that I have ever done in terms of a portable. And then the only other completed portable that I have, which actually needs some work, quite a bit of work, doesn't really need quite a bit of work, is my Handy Gen. This is a portable Genesis. Again, it is with original hardware. I did not use a Genesis, though. I used a Nomad, which was already portable because it is the smallest official Genesis ever made. So I used a Nomad that didn't have a working screen on it. So I have modified it to be this, which this is smaller than a Nomad with the battery pack on it because the batteries stink in a Nomad. And it has a much better screen, obviously. This is a 4-inch screen, I think. However, the screen, no, it's not that the screen isn't working. The video line is no longer working. Like, it's not hooked up. Something's come disconnected. I know that the system itself works because when you turn it on, you can hear the game. At least you can normally hear there it is. Hear that? That's the game audio. So the system itself is working. It's just the video line has been severed somehow. Because even when I go to do the AV out for it, the video still doesn't show. So there's something wrong with the video line. But on this one, this was codenamed my Blue Mushroom just because I kind of have a mushroom theme going on. So it's the Blue Mushroom. There you go. That's the mushroom shot. There's the Blue Mushroom. This one's dirty. It just needs cleaned. But the top, you have your power switch. These are the screen controls again. The middle one's for the menu. That's for turning the options up and down. That's your volume. On the bottom, we have your charging port. This is your second player port. This is the AV out, and this in there which you have to use like a pencil to click, is to turn the screen off when you're using the AV out so you can not waste battery. Your headphone jack. But yeah, that's this is one that I'm going to need to fix. This is one that is a pain in the butt to close. I'm not going to open it right now. I'm not going to bother opening this one until I'm getting in there to repair it. There's a ribbon cable. Like the Nomad has 2 different boards, and there's a ribbon cable between the 2 boards, which is extremely difficult in the format I have it in here to disconnect and reconnect. So I don't want to mess with that until I'm actually opening it up to repair it. So that'll be another day. But that is that one. The only other completed projects I have that are still put together are the ones that I've completed on stream here just recently. We have my GameCube digital controller. This I just finished just like 2 weeks ago. That's for playing Game Boy games on my Game Boy player on the GameCube. The sticker is falling off. I'm going to have to redo the sticker. Or glue it down. Just glue it down. Yeah, I just completed it on November 12th of 2020. But yeah, it was several years in the making, but I finally got it done. It's working. It's great. I can't wait to use it when I'm streaming my Game Boy Zelda games on stream. And then the other thing that I just completed last week was my Dream Game Boy Advance. It's still not fully done. I still need to work on the battery. The door doesn't close all the way. It stays closed, but it has a little gap to it, and that annoys me, so I need to work on the battery. But this was just a little mod. Like, it's not even something I didn't do a signature plate on this or anything, but it's something I completed recently. And yeah, so now we're going to be getting into projects I had completed at one point in time, but are no longer completed. Let's see, I have a bunch of stuff just in the way. What are you? Nope, you are not. You've never been completed. You have been completed. Okay. This baby, I need to put back together. This is my handy gear. This is the Dream Game Gear. Because the Game Gear has actually some really good games on it. But the Game Gear itself had a crappy screen and crappy battery life. Thanks, wife. Gonna leave the batteries in here because we don't need the batteries for right now. Yeah, thanks, wife. But this is the handy gear. Again, it's not fully together. I originally opened it up to swap the screen to a nicer screen. The screen that I was using was it was originally a PS1 screen that I had modified for it. And originally, when I first finished this, was working fine. But it started to go bad. Like, it was dimming out way too much. I couldn't really see on it anymore. And so a friend sent me a really nice 5-inch screen that is much better quality. And I originally opened this up with the full intent of just swapping out the screen and then having to put in a new audio amp. And then it just turned into a disaster. Like, I think that I have fried the Game Gear that is in here. So yeah. And it's not just a Game Gear portable. I have actually hardwired on the SMS converter for the Game Gear that you can play SMS games on the Game Gear with. So that's why the back has like 2 different cart slots. That's going to be where your Game Gear games go, and then your Sega Master System games go in up here. You can only ever put one in at a time because they are wired to the exact same spot on the Game Gear itself. If you were to put both in, you might kill a game. Or your system. But yeah, right now this is just a complete mess because, like I said, I was in the process of getting this new board, this new screen put in. The screen was working beautifully, and then I did something and the Game Gear stopped working. So I don't know. This will be an interesting one because I don't remember where it was at or what was going on. This is the audio amp I was trying to... No, that's the power board. So I don't know if I thought the power board was bad. This one's going to be kind of difficult because it's been so long since I was messing with it. This is the screen board. These are the controls. Over here is the Game Gear. This is where I have hardwired on the converter directly to the Game Gear pin ports. Yeah. This one I really want to get working again because it's annoying that it's not. Like, this was one of my babies that I just went in to try to do a simple swap out and I messed it all up. But yeah, so this is something I'm planning on in 2021 to be getting fixed and get back into order because I have no other way to play Game Gear games other than on this, and it's been sitting like this for a long time. It was originally completed on June 25th of 2011. 2011 was a very successful year for me. I got like 3 big projects done. It did not have any kind of code name. It was just the Handy Gear. I just kept it a secret for a while. Like, people knew I was working on something but didn't know what I was working on. But yeah, so that's something that I want to tackle in the new year. Tucky! Thank you so much for the biddies. I was super duper proud of this casework that I did. Like, I made this look as much like a Game Gear as possible from the front using... This is the same case that I had for the Handy Duo. It's called a ZN40 case. So I chopped up the Game Gear front. Like, this actually does have the original Game Gear. Like, from about here to about here is the Game Gear case. And then from about here to about up here, this is also the original Game Gear case. I then filled in the gap here, smoothed it out to make it rounded, just like this. I extended these wings up to make it look like it is one solid piece. Like, I was very proud of myself with the casework that I did on this one. You can see it better from this side over here. Like, this screw post. Let's get it in the camera. This screw post, that's where the... No, that's not it. Because that screw post belongs to this case, not to the Game Gear case. You can actually see it better over here. You see where this part ends right here? This is the original Game Gear case. Everything above that is what I added on to the front. So yeah, this one had a lot of casework to it. I was extremely proud of what I did. The case still looks good. Like, there's barely any cracking or anything. It's just that it hasn't been in use for a long time because it doesn't work, because it's all apart. The back also, like, I made it as thin as possible. This originally had wings on it. I cut the wings off because I didn't need them. And put in the Game Gear cart slot from the back of a Game Gear and put in the SMS cart slot. Like, I'm still to this day extremely proud of the casework I did on this one. That's one reason why I really want to go back and refinish it, because to me, like, I have certain projects that I think are my best things for different reasons. Like, the Handiness Commission I did, I think, is the best looking portable that I ever made because it looks like the NES controller just like the guy wanted. This one, I think, is my best casework project that I ever did because even still, it looks flawless. Like, I just did a really good job and it was really a lot of work and I worked really hard to get it to look good. And again, I'm still super proud of the Pocket Atari because that's something that shouldn't have been able to be done, but yet I did it. And then the one that I think is my most intelligent project we'll be talking about in a bit, which is what is my wife's favorite project of mine, but we'll get to that one in a bit. So yeah, in 2021, I am planning on going and figuring out what the heck's wrong with this one, getting it working again, closing her back up so she can be done and displayed and used because she deserves it. That, yeah, that's one that has been completed at one point in time, but is no longer completed because reasons. Put that back in there. Boop. Oof. Right, another project of mine that was completed but is no longer. Not those. Excuse me. This one can go back down there. Not you. Here we go. This box. This shoebox. Right. So at one point in time, it was for a competition. I made what I called the Super Joy Girl. It was simply just this is also using another clone system. It was just to make an NES portable that has a bunch of games already built into it. And it's been ripped apart to take pieces to use for other projects. So, yeah. This goes with it. I don't know if either of those go with it. So this is the Super Joy Girl. I considered it completed because the time frame for the contest was up, but I myself never considered it completed because it never had batteries in it. It always ran off of wall power, which is not a portable if you ask me. But I modified an original Game Boy case. The front I didn't do any modifications to, I just painted it. The back, I have closed up the battery door. In case you don't know what an original Game Boy looks like, this is the original Game Boy. I closed up the battery door. I made the grooves match all the way across from where I epoxied it in. Yeah. Closed up the game cartridge area. So yeah, the back had a bunch of work done to it. This was not just... I tried to make it more difficult for myself than I had to. I could have just simply had the Super Joy 3 in there, and that has like 71 built-in games on it, I think. But I decided that I would be smarter than that. I decided that I would put a switch in and have it switch between reading a game cartridge that had another like 150 built-in games and the Super Joy 3. So it has... The top has a power button, and then it ends up having two different switches over here. One of them I had to do last second, which is why it doesn't match the rest of everything. Like, this hole's too big. To get it to swap between reading internal games and the cartridge that's hardwired in there, there was two different wires, and I that's the only way I could get it to work, because of the switches I had. But it has a little 2.5-inch screen. I don't even know where the board is to it. I've apparently ripped it out to use it somewhere else, so I'll have to replace that. I have just stuff everywhere. This is the... Let's put this in the camera. This is the Super Joy 3 board. That's the one that has 71 games already built in it. This is a random cart that I had that had like another 150 games on it. It's wired up to it so that it can swap between the two games. This is one that I do want to go back and get finished up and actually put batteries in it. But it'll be basically starting back electronically from the start because I have ripped this thing to pieces. Like... And this thing I was making to go with it was going to be the second player controller, like box. I was just going to have a little box that had like a breakout to be both 1 and 2 player external, because this does have AV out. So that's something I would also like to go in and mess with and see if I can get working again and finished up. Yeah. It's just kind of a mess. I'm really upset with how this bezel came out. Like, I bought a thing to make my own bezel, and I put the plastic down too soon, and so it looks crappy. But I still have things to print more of the bezel. I just I'll have to pop the plastic out and clean it up real good and come up with another way to adhere it, I guess. But so that is a project that I did have quote unquote completed at one point in time. Yeah, the name of it. It's because, yeah, because I'm using the Superjoy 3, so that's why it's Superjoy. And then since it's hot pink, it's got to be girl. Plus, I'm a girl, all that jazz. Another very tiny side project I want to do. This is a functioning Game Boy. I want to, I for some reason stole its LED, so I want to put an LED back in it, clean it up, find a battery door for it if I have a battery door somewhere for it, and put the screen lids back on, and then maybe give that away or something to somebody. We'll see. But yeah, it does work. I've turned it on. It has a few vertical lines which I can fix. But that'll just be like a very tiny project, just something small. And then maybe as a giveaway to be like, hey, you want something I worked on? Here you go. We'll see. So that is one that I have worked on and it's done. I'm going to save the last one that I had completed at one point in time but is no longer completed. I'm going to save as the last thing because I'm going to spend quite a bit of time talking about it. So we're going to go on to some like half-started projects I have that I've never completed and I would really like to get to work on in 2021 if possible. I got a lot of projects I want to work on. I probably can't get them all done in 2021, but I want to get through as many as I can without rushing the job too bad that it comes out not good and I kill things. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, let's see, it's probably the most simplest of them. Game Boy Advanced XLs. When you take a DS that has a broken top screen and you rip off the top screen and you use just the bottom for Game Boy Advance games. That's what we're talking about here. That's just a case. I have one that I was working on that was for the Game Boy or the DS Lite. I want to get that finished up. There was one that Dietz was actually working on. Like she got all of the electrical work done and then she went to paint it and she didn't like the paint job and so she stopped. So I want to go back and this is hers. I want to go back, finish up the paint job or strip it and redo the paint job to something. So we can get that done and get it out of here basically. Oh, that's awesome. One of them's going to need a new battery because this is a puffed battery. So that battery is no good. That needs to go away. This is... Come here. Oof. Well, the speaker looks like crap because it has... They're magnets, obviously, and they've got screws all over them. But this is the board to Dietz's. It's already got all the electrics done. It just simply needs the casework done. Like I'll obviously go back and double check to make sure everything's still good on it and get obviously all of that off of the magnet. But that is the one that goes with... That's mostly just going to be a paint job though to finish up this case and get that out of here. And then there is... I mostly stopped working on the one for the Game Boy Lite or the DS Lite because I messed it up. I was trying to be clever. Again, I can never just seem to do something just to do it. I always have to try to make things more complex. I decided I was going to relocate the cart slot further down so that it would sit flusher. It still doesn't sit perfectly flush, but sit flusher with the case. And I believe that I have killed this board. But I have several other boards in here, and I didn't realize I had this many others. I have one here, and I have another one here. Again, I don't know why I have multiples. I think this is the board I actually killed. Yes. Maybe? I don't know, because this one's also had some work done to it, because it has the speakers located where I want them. So this might be the one I originally started with and killed. Because this doesn't have speakers on it anymore. I don't know. I have several boards, and I don't know what's going on anymore. So I would like to at least get one done, so I can get this out of here and move on with my life, basically. But I do have casings in here of 2 other DS lights, which means that if I had 2 working boards, I could make 2 of them, but we'll see. Basically, I just want to get stuff done. These batteries are good. These batteries are good. That battery is not. That battery needs to go away. And this battery is good. It's not puffed. So yeah, those are just little project things. They're mostly casework. I've made 3 GBA XLs of the original DSs already. I don't have any of them. I sold 2 of them and I gave the other one away as a giveaway. So I don't have any of them to show. But I've done them before. These aren't hard mods. The light is a much harder mod just because you have less room to work with. But that's something I would like to get done and get out of my stuff. So I can have this back, basically, my shoebox back to put other projects in. So there's that one, and then what are we going to talk about next? I forgot to put this back. That's in here. Please go in. Thank you. Right. What's next? Not that. All right, this one. So, obviously, I've made a Nintendo portable. I've made a Nintendo and Super Nintendo portable. I have worked on Genesis. I have refixed the Game Gear. So, obviously, the next step is to do an N64, right? So, let me show you my codename Yellow Mushroom, aka my handy 64. I've got quite a bit of casework done, but that's about it. I've done nothing electronic wise on this. I was working on the case, and that is all that I have done. It's gonna have to be thicker than the case I normally work with for the handiness, because the N64 is a lot more complex. So I have I've gotten the screen place out, obviously the D-pad. I'm going to be using a 3DS slider to save room on the inside. It's got your C sticks, your AB button, and your start and select, because the controller I was using has, there's no select button on an N64, so I don't know what it's for. I don't remember. Oh, that's right. I'm going to use it to swap, because I am going to have it have the L, or am I going to use it as the L button? Now I don't remember. I know that I'm going to have full functionality of this controller. So it's going to have the L button, it's going to have the R button, and it's going to have the Z trigger button. So I don't remember if I was just going to use the front face button as the L button, because most games that use the L button, it's not for, that I have at least, it's not for anything super important. Like in the Zelda games, all it does is it takes the map away or brings the map up on the screen that you're looking at. So that I might have just been putting L up there just so I have it, and then using the shoulder buttons that I'll be putting in, which I don't remember where I'm putting them now, but the shoulder buttons will be the Z and R instead, and have L up here. So that's probably what I was going to do. And then the cart slot right there. Cart slot is, like I said, full functionality I'm going for. So I do have the expansion pack, well, not expansion pack, sorry, the controller pack. So I can save using my memory cards if I want, or I could if I really wanted to. Actually, no, I don't think I can. I don't think it'll fit in here. I can't use the rumble pack. I was thinking about putting rumble motors inside, but I don't think I'm going to bother with that, just because more likely to damage something when it's a hand-done thing. So, but I will be able to put memory cards in, because I do have one game that takes memory cards. But the memory card is right there. I don't remember which way it goes in, but Let's go that way. It'll fit in, basically. No, it doesn't go that way. Which way does it go? There, it goes that way. So yeah, it'll fit in. Mine's quite long, so it'll stick out that much when I'm playing. Like that. Oh, no, that's completely upside down. It goes this way. Like that. It'll stick out. Again, there's not very many games I have that use the memory cart, so it's not a huge deal. And if you have an official one, they're shorter than that. It probably will only stick out to about the bottom of the case. Music has stopped. Please continue watching. Nobody asked you to pause. There we go. Again, I've only done casework on this one. I haven't done any actual... In fact, like the N64 isn't even here. The N64 is in my closet still, but I do have the expansion pack that I'll be using for it. This is the 3DS slider I plan on using for it. A lot of people don't like 3DS sliders, but it does save so much room when you're making an N64 portable. So I need to figure out how to wire that up. I know people have done it, so I know that I'll be able to do it. I do have what I'm planning on using for the Z and the the R button. I just don't remember where I'm going to put them in there. Probably up on the shoulders, on the back side, probably back here is where I was planning on it. I just haven't done it case-wise. I have the N64 does get hot. It's going to be the first console I've worked with that actually overheats, so I am going to have to put some heat sinks on it, some new heat sinks that are smaller. I got the speaker in here, which is super tiny. I always use super tiny ones just because I make small stuff. This is the controller I was using. I'll just be using it for the controller board. I don't even know if I'll be using the brain of this one. I don't know if this controller actually works. I never tested it. So, but yeah, that's, again, only have done casework on this one. But that is something that I would like to look at tackling, my N64 portable. It will be yellow and white, hence codename Yellow Mushroom. Yeah, that's that one. Something that I would like to get back into. That can go away then. What's the next thing we're gonna show? Right, this is the one that I am terrified of. I worked on this one a lot on stream back before I took my very long hiatus from modding. This is my PlayStation Micro. PSM. The casework is basically done on it, and then I went to try to wire it all up, and it didn't work. I killed the PlayStation. I killed the PSP. So it's just kind of sat here. Need to move a bunch of stuff out of the way. I have been sent another PSP to replace it with, but I am nervous about doing it because it's such tiny soldering. So I haven't done anything with it at all. I have several PSPs in here, so everything's kind of just crammed in here, which means that the case is probably not going to be complete anymore because it's probably going to be a complete mess. Yeah, the paint job's damaged. This is the back of the controller I was going to use for it. This is the front of the controller. I am using a 360 controller, just modified because obviously that's cracked quite a bit. It doesn't require, the PSP has no right analog stick, and it has only an L and R button. It doesn't have triggers, so I have removed the triggers off the back. It's just the L and R. And then the actual console from here. This is the door. It will have a sticker that says PSM in the same font as PSP. it did at one point in time. These have gotten very dusty, but this, it, do I have you the right way? Why are you not closing? I've never had issues having this thing closed before. Why is it not closing? What the heck? Not closing! Anyway, that's something I'll deal with later. The front, like this is the screen side. This is going to actually be the bottom of the console. So I've just filled in all the holes. You can see them on this side. This is just going to be the bottom, so it doesn't really matter much. It'll be sitting on the bottom like that. This will be the top. This will be the front of the top. This is going to be where the controller port is. That is the power light. The disk drive will be there. Obviously, you open it up and you put your game in. And the power is normally on the side, so you'll have to reach around and grab it. But yeah, it's something that I want to get accomplished eventually, but this is going to be at the bottom of my list because I am still absolutely terrified of killing it again. And as of this moment, I can't even close the case, so I don't know what's happening. This case used to close. I swear. I think it's just gotten too much paint on this one part. Anyway, I'm not going to force that. That is going to be the last thing I get to, probably. I need to get a whole bunch of confidence back before I try working on this thing again. Like I said, I killed a PSP, like outright just plain killed it, trying to do this project. And while PSPs might not be the most expensive thing in the world, they aren't exactly the cheapest thing in the world either. And killing PSPs is not on my agenda. So yeah, that's one day I would love to be able to complete this one, because the PSP also has quite a bit of good games on it. But playing them on the PSP is annoying. So it would be really nice if I could play them on the TV, which I know I can play them on the TV. I have the cable to use, that I could just use the PSP itself and play it on the TV, but that's boring. I don't like to be that boring. I like to be exciting. And I like to mod my own stuff, so that's kind of the whole point, right? So that's that project. Again, that one still terrifies me, so that is well down the line. I completely forgot I even had this until I was looking to pull stuff out for this session. I do not like PlayStation controllers. Just gonna put that out there. I do not like the offset analogs. They hurt my thumb. I like to have the analog up. I like the 360 controller, like Xbox controllers, and I like the Switch's controller. I like how they have the left analog up and the D-pad down. I don't use the D-pad nearly as much as I do the analog, and it hurts my thumb. That being said, I originally planned to put a PS2 controller inside of a 360 case. I found a really good third-party DualShock wireless controller. This is just the casing of it. This is the actual controller. Like, it works really well. Works super well. So I bought two of these. One of them I still actually use whenever I use the PS2. This one came to me broken, but it doesn't matter. It will suffice for what I need it for. The part that was broken was this is the left side. So the L buttons, like the left L2 and L1 buttons, the board was broken in half. I can fix that though, because I'm me. But yeah, I need to basically jam all of this crap into a 360 controller, which I wasn't going to use this, like this is what I have for the board, but I have a silver to match my silver PS2, a silver case in here, which is still being perfectly protected because I still have it in the box. Yes. A nice silver 360 wireless case that will still use 2 AA batteries because this also uses 2, I think. It uses 2 AAA batteries, but AAA and AA are the same voltage, so it just means it'll last longer if it has 2 AA batteries instead of 2 AAA batteries. So yeah, that is another project that I completely forgot about till I was going through and looking. And that's not a very complex project either, but it is something that I would still like to finish because I, again, don't like PlayStation controllers. So yeah, completely forgot that I had that. Completely. And it won't have any casework at all. It's just simply throwing the guts of one into another one and making it work. So, yeah. All right, which brings us to the one I am most excited to talk to you guys about, which I need to clear some crap away first so I can get to it. The first thing that we're going to be working on in 2021, starting next week, is my last project that I did have complete at one point in time, but it's ripped apart. Let me just, again, clean away some stuff so I can get this out and actually show you. One moment, one moment. All the stuff out of the way. Right, sorry, it's in a big box. These a moment. That can actually go back right down here. Come here, box. You can go back up in the corner over there, as can you. And you. All right. The last project that I completed at one point in time, and then completely ripped it apart to do some repair work and then never finished it, is my handy PNP, or my green mushroom. Code name green. See what all I want to get out and show. That's just wires. Okay, so that out and two, and that. Right, so the handy PNP. You guys all know those plug and play things you get. You just plug directly into your TV and you can play games. Well, I had a bunch of those. And I was like, you know what? Sick and tired of using AA's for these things. And the controls on these things are always horrible. So I decided I was going to make a portable and make my own cartridges. I'm not the first person who ever did this. The reason this one was codenamed Green Mushroom was for a reason. I wanted to one-up the person who originally made this project because his was awful. So I did one-up him. I meant to bring all my completed carts, but they're over there. So this is the casing. Let's move everything. This is the handy PNP casing. The reason I originally ripped it apart is the paint job went bad. It was extremely tacky and sticky, and so it got it was getting disgusting. Like, it was gross to hold. Like, I've already stripped off the clear coat, I believe, but I'm gonna need to strip it back further, repaint it, put a new sticker on it and stuff. I'm gonna try to salvage this. Like, I'm gonna rip it off and probably glue it back on the new one because this was completed. Oh, I already tried and it just completely ruined it. I might just have to take a picture of it and reprint it out that way so that I can have the original signature plate. Because like I said, that's when it was originally completed. It was completed on May 4th of 2014. The way that this one works... Oh yeah, I can't get out the cart slot. It's attached to everything. I'll show you that in a minute. the way this one works, the console, so this portion of it right here, is not actually the console part at all. It's just the screen, battery, and controls. So you got your screen. I've got enough buttons to cover all of the different plug and plays that I have. There's your D-pad. This ends up being a pot to be able to use for like the Atari paddle games and stuff. You have like a start and select button, 4 face buttons up here. This is a reset button to be able to get back to the main menu of several of them. I have 2 shoulder buttons, the L and R buttons up here. This is the volume wheel, that's the power. This is for the screen controls again. On the bottom, we have the, one of them's the headphone jack, one's AV out. I don't remember which is which. This is for a second player port. This is the thing I'm most upset about on this entire project because that looks horrible. But it's a second player port that goes to a VGA port from a computer, because I do want to make a second player controller for this, and it needs a lot of wires to be able to accomplish that. And that is the charging port for it. So there's actually not a lot that goes on inside this portion of this, because like I said, it's just the screen, the controls, and the batteries. The actual brains of this console are in each individual cartridge. Which these are just all empty cartridges right now, with ones that I own and I plan to turn into games. I've got a Namco one, Miss Pac-Man here. I have a Sega Play Pal one that has a bunch of SMS and Game Gear games on it, I believe. An Activision one that has a bunch of Atari 2600 games on it, by Activision, obviously. I have a Jack's Pinball game, which is really cool. But the pinball one's going to be a little bit more complex to do because of how the thing works. Talk about that later. And I have a Genesis At Games portable that I want to turn into cartridge instead. But the way that these work, I actually have one here that I killed. It doesn't work. I don't know how I killed it. If I can get it unstuck, whatever it is stuck to. Okay, this was the Miss Pac-Man game. What I do to make these work, I take, like, this is an original board for one of these cases are all for Famicom games. This is one of the boards that goes inside one of the big ones like this. But I take the original board and I take the chips off so I can cut it. And I cut it away so that it ends up being just what I need, which is the pins and the supports to make sure it holds it in place. And then I end up wiring up all of the guts of the internal of the plug and play to these different pins that I have a diagram somewhere that so I can remember what each pin is. Like the pins will have, each different pin will be, one's going to be the video line, one's going to be the audio line. There's several grounds because I have so many different things going through this. I wanted to make sure that nothing interferes with each other. There's several different power lines because some of these take 3 volts, some of them take 5 volts, some of them take some other odd voltage. I think I have 3 different voltage lines going through the cart slot essentially. And then there's all the different controls that go through it. So it depends on what the game has for how many of these pins down here end up being used, basically. This one never worked. I split the board, and in splitting the board, I never got it to work. It looked like an easy split and an easy reconnect with wires, but I killed it somehow doing that, and I don't know. Let me go grab some of my completed ones. I can open them up so you can see what they look like once they're actually completed and together. One moment. Okay, sorry about that. I do have I have 16 carts completed. I think some of them need a little bit of work, but I do have 16 carts that I have gotten closed up and functional. So let's show an easier one than that. So here's the Atari paddle game. We're going to open it up on the back. Like I have made individual labels showing what the plug and play is in some way, shape, or form. A lot of them show a few different game screens on it. Some of them don't. But on the back, I do have a controller instruction, since each one varies. Like they're not always going to be the same. So we're going to go ahead and open this up. Get the case out of the way. It's literally just using the cart slot to transfer all the data. Come on. So all these old Famicom games, I had to clean the cartridges. I had to rip off the original labels on them, clean that up. I had to break the tabs that originally held these together, because they're not held together. Like Famicom games are not held together by screws. They are held together by plastic tabs. So I had to break off the plastic tabs. I had to put in my own screw posts. You can see, like, these are my screw posts, which I then also had to line up to make sure that they lined up correctly to be able to close up. But yeah, this is the Atari paddle game made into a cartridge. As you can see, I didn't have to use very many pins on this side. I don't know what they are anymore. I don't remember what the pins are. Probably power on this side. I don't know. Actually, I didn't have to use very many pins at all. There's only a few pins on this side used also. But yeah, it's simply, like I said, some of these pins are going to be, a lot of them are grounded to make sure that I'm not have interference between all the different pins I have. Each different control has its own pin, so one of these pins will be up, one will be down, one will be left, one will be right. 3 of them will have to do with the pot for like Atari paddle games. That's probably what these 3 are over here, honestly. One of them will be video, one of them will be audio. Then you have all the different power pins. But yeah, it's this, each of these carts are the brains to this portable. The portable housing itself has no brains in it. It's nothing. It's just a screen and batteries and controls, but you can't do anything with it. So yeah, that is, and then I obviously have to figure out how to fit all of them inside. And close it back up. Show you another one here. Just one sec. Just close. And also, the screw post that I have in here, the screws I bought and the posts I bought are actually a lot longer than I need, I believe. So I also have to cut them down. Like, I didn't go the easy route for anything of this, basically. I mean, it all works. And every once in a while I have one that I don't fully line up correctly, but I end up making work. Like, I'll show you here in just one second on this one. Like, you can see on this one that this last one, if it'll focus, hello, it doesn't line up perfectly with the hole, but it lines up enough that it still closes and it works. And then obviously, since I'm using screws that weren't originally in this, and I want everything to be flush without screws coming out, I also then have to go and I go in and make a small divot so that this sits flush with it and it doesn't stick out and scratch anything. So there's a lot of work in making one of these cartridges, but I tried to make them look as uniform and professional as possible on the outside. This is why I say that this was project codename Green Mushroom to one up the other guys. None of them were uniform. They didn't look good. They just looked poo. Let's show one of the big ones. Let's see. I'll actually show these two. And I will show the very first one I ever made. This is the first one I ever made. Not every single one I have has the controller sticker on the back. I had completely forgotten that I had actually done work on this back when I was streaming modding before, and I had made 4 more cartridges on stream, and none of those have the controller stickers on them. So this one over here is one that I made on stream, and it doesn't have a controller sticker yet. I'll need to make one. I just recently recreated it because it's a file that I lost, so I had to recreate the sticker so I can actually put it on. So that is the inside of this one. This was originally it was already a portable, but I've made it, put it in a better screen and stuff. But so again, just not all the pins need to be used for every single cart. It just depends on what it is you need and what it is you're doing. And then just a matter of fitting it into the casing that you have, which this one fits just perfectly. 1 second. That's go up. There we go. That one fits in just perfectly. I did have to cut away some up there. I had to cut away up here a little bit, which obviously I then had to rewire something because of that, but I did it. Yeah, it's a matter of knowing what you can cut, what you can rewire, how you can make it fit and work. I'm going to show you the very first one that I ever did next, and then I'll show you one of the last ones I ever did. I don't remember if this one was actually the last one I built, but it was one of the last 4 that I made. You can see how I've changed in the process, I guess, if I have changed at all. When I originally first did this project, I did it in 6 weeks, 6 or 8 weeks, and I made the portable itself and 12 game cartridges at the time. Yeah, but I now have 16 cartridges. I do have, I think I have about 9 or 10 other ones to still put into cartridges. Which obviously this could be a never-ending project because they're always making new plug and plays, which are interesting, and I wouldn't mind having in my collection. Right, this is the very first cartridge I made. A Pac-Man plug and play. The case on this one is definitely a lot more messed up than the other ones. Come on, come out. Like, I had a lot of trouble getting this one opened initially, which my new iFixit kit will help with that because I have new plastic tools to be able to pry plastic open instead of using screwdrivers, which damages the case. Because this one, like, damaged over here. It's damaged up on the top. Damaged over here. Like, it's rough looking. But when you open it up, there you go. That was my very first one that I ever made. still pulls out. Like pretty much all of them, I don't have them glued in the case at all. They're just secured by the original means that the Famicom games secure themselves. So that way I can have access if I need to repair them at any time, since this is all hand done. But yeah, that's that one for playing Pac-Man games. And I can tell this was the first one I did because I at first tried to epoxy putty in screw posts. I went away from that on every other one. I now use a type of Gorilla Glue instead. It puffs up and works very well, but it's also easy to not remove per se, but to move it after it's dried. If it's in the way, I can just push some of it down. So yeah, that helps a lot. Screws all back in, and I will show you one of the last ones that I made, and then I'm going to show you the guts of the system, how they are right now. Yes, the Handy PNP is going to be the first project that I get back to work on in 2021. We are going to work on, I do need to redo the paint on the case. That's going to actually be the last thing that I do, because that's what started to mess it up, is I have to do so much testing with the cart slot that testing all the cartridges after I already had it done, and just that's what messed up the paint job. So I'm going to get all the cartridges made and do all the testing that I need, and then I'm going to go back and actually finish up the case again so we can get this thing done. So yeah, that's Pac-Man. And then I want to show you one thing that's nice when I use the bigger carts is they actually have screw posts in them already. The small games do not. Famicom's small cartridges do not. They stick together with tabs, and some of them have like a post that goes through the middle that goes into a hole that connects it that way also. That's also something I often have to break out. But the big cartridges, they do have screw posts, so I don't have to put screw posts in them. But I don't want all of them to use the big ones because that's a lot of wasted space. I like to put as many of them I can as in the small ones. The reason I used Famicom cartridges is because they are uniform enough to each other, but yet different from games I already have. Like, I don't want to use NES because I already have NES games. I do have some Famicom games in my collection, but I don't use them. I just have them to say I have them, basically. So I went for something that I couldn't accidentally, mistakenly, not that I would, but accidentally, mistakenly put in something it doesn't belong in. Right, so this is one of the last ones I ever made. This is the, what was it again? The Capcom plug and play that has Commando 1942 and Ghosts and Ghouls on it, or Ghosts and Goblins. And this was one that was not released in the States. It is one that was released in the UK, I believe. Is this an ad? Done. It was released in the UK, so it actually is for the PAL region. So it doesn't technically work properly in America. The screen I use, however, accepts PAL video signals, so it works. Like, you can play it on American TVs, but it's in black and white, and it has a few screen jittery issues. But this plugged in with the screen that I use does work in color, and it has no issues. It works great. But this is actually the second one I had of this. I killed the first one. I don't know how I killed the first one. Sometimes these plug and plays aren't made very well, and just opening them and just looking at it wrong can kill it. I don't even think I did anything to them. I think I opened it and then went and like plugged it up to test something on it. Like, I hadn't done anything and it just didn't work. It did work and then it didn't work. So you have to be careful when you're messing with these things. But yeah, so this one's a little bit more complex. It has a few more wires attached down there, you can see. But yeah, that's the most recent, one of the most recent ones that I ever made. Glued the board together for some security. but still able to access everything I need if I need to get in there and fix something. And it all just fits nicely in there. Yeah. And that is the goal, is to get as many plug and plays as possible to fit inside of these. Right. Get this closed. I'm going to show you what the insides, what the guts are currently looking like. Hello, Ravatar. How are you doing? Welcome to my channel. So that closed. This battery is worrying me. I need to dispose of it. All right, so the guts of this system are currently, let me see if I can get them all out. This was the setup I was using to test with, because I found the first time around that it was an issue if I didn't have this screwed into place, because I could be putting the cart slot in not quite right and having it work, because with there being the guides and everything and only a specific place for it to go in, the pins might not line up right with how I was originally testing. So I have to do testing with the cart slot screwed into the cart slot cover. So that's why I have it like this. This is the quote unquote brains of the Handy PNP, the internal of this part of the casing. Like I said, there's not much in it. Obviously I don't have the batteries plugged up to it. I have the testing done to just the all the wires are like entangled. Over here. That's the reset button. Come on. There. I have it through mains. I just plug it up to the wall for this purpose of testing. So I have the screen, I have mains, I have this is the D-pad right here. These are the 4 face buttons right here to be able to test. These are probably the start and select buttons. This is the reset button, and that is the pot for using Atari paddle games or any other such type of game. So I have it set up like this so I can get in there and test. I don't have the audio hooked up for testing, but I do have everything else hooked up so I can get in there, find out if I have it working correctly. Sorry, I'm just looking at it because I'm like, if that takes just mains that has the 7.5 volts, I must be using something on the screen to be able to knock it down. Like either that or I have been testing everything with the same power and I shouldn't have been, but I don't see any step down converter in here. I must just be using stuff off the screen. Let's see what I got all wired up to the screen. I have 5 volts and 7.5 volts. I'd have to look at all my diagrams, but yeah, this is no, that would be 5 AA batteries would be, they're each 1.5 volts. 3, 6. Yeah. None of them actually use 7.5 volts. 7.5 volts is not a typical, but the screen uses 7.5 volts, which is why I have 7.5 volts for my batteries. I can knock down the power for plug and plays. Of course, my folder's over there. But yeah, some plug and plays only use 1 battery, so it's 1.5 volts. Some of them use 2. That's 3 volts. Some of them use 3. It's 4.5 volts. So So yeah, but this is this is how I'm going to be doing the testing. I'm going to build all the cartridges, and then we can test them this way. And they just go in like this so that they fit correctly how they're supposed to. You can test it that way. In fact, technically, if I were to plug this in right now, I could show you, but I don't have that set up right now to do that. We'll save that for next week, so we can see stuff next week. Come out. Thank you. So this is the casing I was planning on making for the second player controller. Like this. Obviously this is not going to be like this. I'm going to be reworking a lot of this. The D-pad will be over here, the 4 face buttons, but not in this pattern because that's horrible. That's where I'm going to be putting a potato pot for this one for use of the Atari games. Shoulder buttons go up there. I haven't done like any work on this other than cutting that hole, but I do want to have a second player controller for this, which is funny because the controller itself that I'm planning on using is actually going to be about the same size, like width-wise, as this. There's no need to wear gloves when you're working with electronics. It just makes it harder. You need to be able to feel what you're doing. But yeah, the Handy PNP is what I'm the most excited about right now. I want to get back to work with it. We're going to be working on it starting next week. We're going to get it finished up. I do have, like I said, I have several let me get this stuff out of the way. I have several screen back in there. Sorry, I will finish my thought, I promise. I have several plug and plays that still I have sitting waiting to be made into cartridges. Over there. This is my box of Famicom boards that I can still cut and use if need be. I have several more. That's not a Famicom one. I don't know why it's in here. I mean, it is, but it's not one that I would use for this. But yeah, and I have several more casings that I can turn into them. Right, let me clear a little bit of room so I can actually you cases away. That away. That there. Right. That can go back down there. Are completed. Static shocks. I'm not working with them when they're powered on. Yes, no, I don't ever wear gloves when I'm working with electronics. I don't know of anybody who wears gloves when they're working with electronics. They might wear a band for static electricity, which I do have. I just got one in my new kit, but I don't really need that for what I'm doing. These aren't the same as working with PCs. PCs are where you really need to have that kind of stuff. Okay, I've managed to drag over my box that has the rest of my plug and plays. I believe it was the Handy Gen that I had actually won a competition on one of the forums I was on, and I was set 2 plug and plays, but they came from the UK, so to save on shipping, he removed them. He removed them from the casing. This was years ago. He did mark on here what they are, but it's kind of faded. So these are 2 future cartridges if I could figure them out. I don't even know what they are. I think one of them is a casino game. I don't know what the other one is at all. So it's just going to be... Oh, we'll see. These are 2 possible cartridges, if I can figure them out and if they're even worth it. Like, if one of them is a casino game, I don't know if I want a casino game cartridge. We'll see. Depends on what the game is. Okay, fine, I'll make it for wife, because apparently she wants a casino game cartridge. Hey, Scotty, how's it going? Yeah, no, I've never once killed something from Static Shock. And like, seriously, I don't know of anybody who wears gloves who does this hobby unless they're doing casework. Casework's where you might wear gloves because you can stain your hands. Um, like I said, you could wear a static bracelet thingy, which we do have, but consoles are way, especially older consoles that I work with, they're way more sturdy than like PCs are. PCs you can easily fry with a tiny bit of Static Shock. Totally. Consoles, no. Especially not old consoles. You can throw those things around. Nothing will happen. Yeah. So yeah. So like I knew exactly what you were meaning, but yeah, no, you don't need to, not with this stuff. Like maybe with some of this crappy stuff, I should be, but I don't wear gloves because I need to be able to feel what I'm doing. Um but yeah. So these two might be cartridges if we can figure out what they are. You can see like he put little notes on it saying like this is the on and off if it'll focus. Yeah, on off. I cannot tell at all what that says. He's marked out which each wire is, but I don't know. Down, up, right, left, ground. Okay, I did figure it out. So yeah, we might be using these two. We might not. Depends on if we can figure out how to get them to work or not. Depends on how big of a Static Shock it is, honestly. You can have little Static Shocks, you can have big Static Shocks. Um, this is another one. Again, this is one that was already a portable. This is not the exact one I'm going to be using. This one's dead. Or it's not dead. It doesn't work show in color anymore. The last I messed with it. I also really need to... I don't want to get rid of this one, though, because I really need to figure out how I'm going to cut it, because this does not fit. You can see with... Let me get its actual cartridge out. This is the cartridge I want to put it in. Right here. It's a little big. It's a little too big. Like, this is probably going to be one that I'm going to get to practice with bending cartridge boards, or bending boards, or just simply rewiring a lot of wires. Like, I could probably just do a cut down the middle and bend it so I only have to rewire one side, and it would be a lot easier to cut that side and bend because all of the buttons are on this side. But yeah, that's something that I'll need to be figuring out. But it is a Genesis little portable thing. It has 20 games loaded on it. It is one that I would very much like to get working. My working one is somewhere in the house. I don't know where it's at. I'll have to find it. Wife was using it to play on for a while, and we don't know where it's gone since then. I'll have to find it. It is going to be a busy 2021. I know. That's one reason why I haven't gotten rid of that one. Like, the last time I tested that one, it works, but it doesn't show in color anymore, and I don't know why. So I can use that one for testing. Like, if I can cut it, bend it, rewire half of it, and it still works, then I'll be willing to do it on the one that I haven't touched yet. If I can't get it to work, then I'm just simply going to I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not going to ruin it for that. Yes, you can fry or kill anything that has a motherboard, but it takes a lot more than... But it takes a lot more to kill some things than other things. Like, it's fine. Excuse me. Excuse me. But yeah, it's I've never once fried anything in that context. The only way I fried something is because I wired something wrong, and that was my entire fault. Um, the next one I want to show is the old Radica consoles, like plug and plays they had. They made several. They made 3 Sonic ones. I would actually really like to get the first one and the second one. It's a red one and a blue one. I would really like to get them. This is the Sonic Gold, Super Sonic Gold one. It has 4 games, I think, in it. I technically have 2 of these. One of them is dead. It's the very first thing I ever tried to mod back before I actually got into modding, and I completely ruined it. So, but yeah, I want to turn this into one. I don't remember what the internals look like, but the other one's already open. Let's look at it. This is my killed one. Oh yeah, a tube TV because it's old enough. You have to be in the sweet spot with technology. This one doesn't work because I took off its ROM chip and I messed it up. But yeah. So this is what the inside of this one looks like. It should be able to be cut down. It'll be a bit tricky, but I should be able to get it cut down to fit. You see, that's where the ROM chip is. That's going to be the brains. Let me look. It might have to go in a bigger one, but it should. I should be able to cut. Yeah, this is totally going to be doable. I'll be able to cut pretty much all the way up to where these lines are. This side, it's just the buttons, which I'll trace back anyway to where they go. And this over here is just some grounding I can cut off on this side so it'll fit. It'll probably have to be in a bigger one. But that should fit just fine. I might just have to like rewire one trace, but yeah. I should be able to get it in there. I don't think it'll fit in a small one. Where is a small one? Usually ones that have this much board are not going to work in the small ones. But this one should not be a problem to get it to fit in general. Yeah, it's just ever so slightly too tall to fit in small one, I believe. So, but that should be one that will be able to be doable. That shouldn't be a problem. I just need to do it in a big one, which means I'll need to prep another big one if I have another big one. I need to look through what I got. But and that's the dead one, so I should really just throw it away. But it's good to use for seeing if it'll fit. But yeah, I've completely killed that one. And for some reason I have batteries in it, even though it's completely dead. Don't know why. And I don't know if the batteries are even going to come out. They should not be in there. Do not leave batteries in things that you have sitting. That is bad. That is how you kill things. So do as I say, not as I do when it comes to batteries and things. Because I believe there's also batteries in this other one, because I turned it on the other day. I was like, why is this so heavy? And I pressed the power button. Like, oh, there's batteries in here, so I need to pull those out too while I'm here. That can go back down there. Get it out the way. But yeah, this is the one that is still good. But I'll show you that I do have batteries in here and you shouldn't. See, light comes on. So I'm gonna pull the batteries out of here real quick. Because again, don't let batteries sit. It's a bad idea, especially when they're like AA's. Hi, XB. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so there. So that's going to be one that I shouldn't have an issue making into another cart. Should not be a problem at all. Just the 3 buttons: start, menu, power, easy. Easy peasy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We also have, that's 4 so far that I've looked at. I also have this thing, which is yet another, I've half ripped it apart. It's another Sega Master System Game Gear portable, but it was also an MP3 player, which I found really interesting. But I wouldn't use it for the MP3 function. I would just use it for the, if I can get it open. For the, come on, you're that open already, just open. For the game side of it. I was originally going to implement the MP3 factor of it and just put in the SD card slot hole for it. Who knows, maybe I will, just to make it interesting. We'll see. Why will you not come open? Every part of you is open except this bottom part. There we go. Okay, so come out. So that's this one. This will definitely need to be in a bigger one if it's going to work at all. I don't know. It might work if I put it in at an angle, maybe. Like I could chop up to basically where that is. It should be fine. This also might be one that has multi-layer board to it. But this side, the components come basically right up to it, so I can't really do much about that part. I could possibly put it in a slightly bigger one. I do have one case that is slightly bigger, but still, but it's also made with cheap plastic and it's hot pink, but this might be one that doesn't get done because it might not fit. We shall see. We shall see what we can do with this one. Because it fascinates me. Like, it's an interesting thing that has been made, but we shall see. Put that back together. I have discovered while making all of this stuff that there are a lot of plug-in plays that involve Sega and a lot that involve Nintendo. Like, I guess people just, those are the easiest, I don't know. This is the Activision one, which I already have the case made for on it. So I'm expecting to fit this one into a small cartridge. Let's have a gander. Find out. I don't remember how big this board is. Let's see. Oh, this board's small. This board is pretty small. This is one of the carts that has the spine of plastic that fits into the hole that helps hold it together, so that's something that I'll need to remove. But this should, like, I'll have to, let's look at the other side that actually has the brain on it. I should be able to trim up on this part quite easily up until where this line is. And I should be able to trim over there. It should be able to fit just fine in here. I should be able to get it to fit. It shouldn't be a problem. Might take a little bit of rewiring, but yeah, it should fit into this size case just fine. Should. I have the Commodore 64 one. It's already made into a cartridge, actually. Even though I think something doesn't work fully right with it. but I do have it. I will show you the cartridge in a second. Commodore 64. There you go. Commodore 64. This is the US version. It has slightly different games than the UK version had, but there you go. Commodore 64. Yep. Last time I tried it, not all the games worked. I don't know what's wrong with it. Part of the problem with this is when I got these plug-and plays, I didn't fully test them beforehand because I got so excited about this project and I just went like full blast ahead. So it's possible I got plug-and plays that didn't fully work in the first place, and then I've put them in these cartridges and now I'm like, why do these not work fully? What's wrong with this? But c'est la vie, what can you do, huh? What can you do? Where do you go in? Where do you, are you even the right board? I don't remember which way that goes, but anyway. Right, that is dead. This one. Yet another Sega-based one. Like I said, there is a lot of Sega-based plug-and plays. A lot. It's like Sega actually gave away, they allowed a lot of people to work with their games to make things. There's a lot of portables, there's a lot of clone systems, and they're legal clone systems. Like they're actually sponsored by like Sega. Sega's like, yes, please do this. As opposed to like all the NES clones and stuff. Those ones are not. This board looks friggin' huge, but most of it is just the controls being spread out. Like all I need, I believe, is from here, this side, which I should be able to get to fit into a small cartridge, which is what I believe I have for it right here. So this is the one that I have picked out for this, and I should be able to get it to fit. It should be everything just like above where these lines are, so it will fit in this case. It's because all of this to this side is just the buttons, which I can pull from closer to the chip. This is I believe upscaling the it takes only 2 batteries, but I don't believe this runs off of actual 3 volts. Like this makes it a higher voltage, I believe. I'll do some testing to make sure. How I first plan to do that to make sure I don't fry it is I'm going to actually plug it up to 3 volts beyond where all of this little mess is. That's like up here where the power switch is. So I'm going to plug 3 volts in, see if it turns on and runs. I really think this runs off of 5 volts, not of 3 volts. So I'm pretty sure that that's all this is upscaling the power voltage. So I should be able to chop all that off and just feed it 5 volts directly. And yeah, we'll go from there. Need to do testing, obviously, though. But that's that one. All these cables. That's the thing that I'm the most excited to get rid of, like by making this project, is plug and plays take up a lot of room. And there's a lot of cables. Like all that can just be chucked, basically, once I'm done with this. Like that's a lot of room, and it'll be, the whole thing will then only take up this much space. Like it's just so much more space saving. So much better. And the last one I have to show you guys is this is the one that if I do actually manage to make this into a cartridge, it's going to be the most complex cartridge that I make. Jakks Pacific made a pinball game. I actually have 2 of these. One of them doesn't work properly, but I will use it for fitting and stuff. The interesting thing about this pinball game is that it has a plunger on the bottom to get your ball going. So that means I'd need to figure out a way to add this plunger to the cartridge. Because, yeah, it literally, like, that's how you get the ball started in the pinball game. And it also has bump capabilities. Like, if you hit it, it's like you're bumping the pinball machine. That I can easily add into the cartridge. That's not a problem. But it's this. I would really like to make this into a cartridge. It will be a funky cartridge, and it won't be as uniform as the rest of them because it's going to have the things sticking out of it. But I think it'd be really cool. And I think I can do it. I think. But the way to do it is going to be interesting. I'm going to have it like sticking out the side, I think, not out of the back, but I think I'll have it out of the side, like out of the right side. So, well, this side, because the game will go in backwards like this. I think if it comes out and you like have it over here, you can plunge it over here, and then you can still hold the whole. Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. But this is the one I plan on fitting it in. I don't even remember what the guts of this look like. Let's look. There's 3 pinball boards on this, and they're all pretty fun. Cables, so annoying. But then if the cables weren't so long, then you complain that the cables are too short, and you can't play it because they're too short, and you can't reach. Right. So the board for this one is actually not that big. That's good. This board has to do with how this thing reads. So I'd need to figure out where to put that on the cartridge. It would obviously have to be somewhere. If I want it on this side, it would have to be mounted up here with this sticking out. Yeah, well, I'll have to figure it out. But I really want to be able to get this one done. I think it would be really cool to have as a cartridge. But the board itself is not that big. I'll have to figure out. I also don't remember how it has the bump feature. What on here is it that makes it recognize if you're hitting it? Because if it's not something that I relocate and it's just on there, I need to make sure to orientate this correctly. Otherwise, if you bump it on the right side, it'll act like you're bumping it on the left side, but it should fit. Yeah, there's not going to be any issue fitting it into the cartridge. I just need to like trim off a tiny bit over here, which that's just grounding, so it's not a problem. But yeah, like this one is going to be one of my most challenging ones, but I think it's going to be one of the most fun ones if I actually get it done. So those are the cartridges I currently have. There are other ones I would like to get to turn into cartridges, but I'm not letting myself buy any more until I actually get the ones done that I have. So yeah, but that is all of my completed projects and all of my present projects and all of my future projects that I have going on right now. I am, like I said, starting next week at 1 p.m. we will be cracking into the Handy PNP. We'll be starting work on another cartridge. Don't know which one yet. I haven't decided, but I'm going to be cracking on into one of those, and yeah, and obviously making sure the Handy PNP itself still works, the base unit of it. And we'll probably go in and retest all of the completed cartridges I have and see if they all work still, see if there's anything I need to work on. But yeah, so hopefully, Falon! Yeah, that's going to be next week at 1 p.m. We're going to get into that. We're going to do some actual modding next week. Today was just a looky-loo at some stuff. I will be back on Wednesday at around 6:30 p.m. We're going to be completing Majora's Mask. I just have the moon and the final battle left. So we'll be doing that. And then again, next Saturday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to be working on the handy P&P, codename Green Mushroom, with some cart work. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I have today. Like, different stream than normal, just showing off some stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and swap this over to here. Swap this over to here, and just say thank you to everybody who came out and watched and listened to what I plan to do over 2021. I have really big plans for 2021. I hope to get a bunch of stuff done. I'm not planning on going anywhere. I know I vanished for quite a while from the streaming scene with my modding. I just vanished from modding, period. Like, it wasn't just that I wasn't streaming it, I just wasn't doing it. And I now have a new passion and a new oomph to do it, and I want to get this crap done. I have so many other ideas that I want to work on too, but I don't want to get started on something new until I actually get all of my stuff done that I've started on already. So yeah. So hopefully 2021 will be a very productive year for me, and I'll be able to get a bunch of stuff done, and we can actually move on to some new stuff instead of just me trying to finish up a bunch of old stuff that I have half done. So yeah. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming out. Thanks for the bits that I was given. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for everything. I hope all of you had a wonderful Christmas and that you're having a wonderful weekend. And I will see you guys next time. Let me see if there is anybody on to raid. This is a weird time for me to be getting off. So, second. Let's see if there's anybody. Apps. We are going to go raid my friend Alex the Baboon. If I can... How do you actually start a raid? I've never actually done it. You've always started my raid. How do I do it? Okay. Cool. I've never actually done it. That's what happens when you have a wife. Slash raid Alex Baboon. I'm making sure before. Alex the Baboon. Alex the Baboon. Yep. Okay, we're gonna go say hello to my good friend Alex the Baboon. Thank you again for everybody coming out. Please come over and say hello to Alex with me. And he's a lot of fun. He plays a lot of Dark Souls. I think that's what he's playing right now. But yeah, y'all have a good one, and I'll see you next time.